One of my most memorable Battletech games was with my excellent Battletech friend Dave, and we were playing a campaign. This literally played out every Thursday for about 2 or 3 months. And what we were exploring in this campaign was the idea of selecting a massive force of battle value. You got to go in and select your mechs, your infantry, vehicles, support units, and then you were locked in. And throughout the campaign, for each mission, there were branching options, and if you completed a mission or winner versus loser, it changed the course of the campaign. But you had to draw your forces. You had to draw your forces based on literally what you brought for the entire game. And you could swap things in and out at certain points. Salvage became a big deal, utilizing the salvage rules, the repair rules. So in between missions, as the story advanced, you could repair your mechs. You could, in theory, if you captured an opposing machine, you could, in theory, rebuild it and utilize that against your opponent. So a lot of really interesting options. And this leads us into today's Battletech question. Mechs that are ideally suited to salvage. What I mean by that is if you were going into a campaign and you were going to select, part of your stratagem was to select a lance or lances that are not only going to annihilate the opponent, but leave enough goodies, leave enough tech left over that you can salvage. Here's a couple of thoughts that I was thinking. I usually take autocannon 20s. I love big guns. I take them on. I love PPCs also. I love LRM 20s. LRM 20s don't quite count as big guns, but you take 6 to 8 LRM carriers. You take 2 or 3 longbows, 2 archers. You've got a lot of missiles incoming. But in taking autocannon 20s, both efficient machines like the Hunchback and ones that are not a bad mech, I enjoy playing it, but the Cyclops could be a little bit more efficient. The problem with running those type of machines, if you hit with an autocannon 20, it's pretty much going to obliterate the target. If you look at how the damage transfers on light and medium mechs, or even on heavy mechs. Yes, heavy mechs and assault mechs could take 1 or 2 hits of an autocannon 20. But if they take a beating from other mechs or other units, they start to go to internals, the arms are looking a little bit weak. You hit with that autocannon 20, it's just destroying and blasting through components. So I was doing a lot of damage, and I, of course, didn't build my list based on recovering salvage. But I realized halfway through my salvage was lower than normal because I was annihilating things too much. And then I looked, because I tend to keep track of my Tactica and various machines. Machines like the Charger, which I run for the lulls, the stock Charger, not the upgraded actual bringing it to an assault mech proper. In running the Charger for the lulls, when it wasn't punching and kicking and it was actually engaging other targets that had been weakened a little bit, the barrage of small lasers just critting things out and damaging an engine or knocking out gyros and leaving a mech disabled. The salvage bounty was much higher. So that got me thinking, like, hey, in the future, is part of your Tactica to build a lance or build a salvage-friendly lance that, again, will be able to take out the opposition but leave enough stuff remaining for you to grab. Sad face note on the story, because it is worth mentioning. The first mission of the campaign, I went in with my Cyclops, command and control, and we were trying to recover a downed pilot. There was a little pilot miniature that had ejected, and both of our forces were moving to grab this pilot to gather intel. So I'm marching forward with my Cyclops. I had a Spider, I had a Jenner, a couple other mechs, and in comes a Mech Buster. Mech Buster, basically an attack fighter with an autocannon 20. It makes its run, it hits the Cyclops, it blows off the head of the Cyclops, clean off. Now, I blew that Mech Buster up. I lit that up. But now this changed the mission because I have literally the paint was dry on my Cyclops, for this campaign, painted up camo. Literally just dried, just put in the drop ship and dropped off. Right out of the ramp, takes an autocannon 20 to the head, obliterated. I had to change the mission because now it's like I got to capture this pilot, but I got to make sure whether I capture the pilot or not, that salvage rights or that mech isn't picked up by my opponent, because you're just going to put a new head on it. Not even a head, just put a new seat on it, and you're ready to go. So interesting things happen in a campaign, and salvage becomes very, very important. So now I'm going to turn it over to you guys in the comments, just for the exercise, just out of the curiosity. If you were building a salvage lance, what would that look like? What 4 mechs would you take that have that knockout punch, that can do that damage, but the destruction they leave in their wake, both vehicles and mechs, would leave the greatest chance or the greatest possibility for recovery?